What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Big Stu, Scott Stewart, or Professor Stewart, depending on how you know me. And welcome back to another episode of Dope People. And of course, like we always do, we are bringing you another dope person. We are not letting you down. Today we have all the way from New York, a Brooklyn native, another Brooklyn native, AP, Miss Raisa Turner. Miss Raisa Turner, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let me go through your resume a little bit. All right, y'all, get ready for this one. Miss Raisa Turner is a Brooklyn native, BK in the building. She graduated from Adelphi. Is it Adelphi or Adelphi?
Adelphi.
Adelphi University with a bachelor's in math and a master's in secondary education. She started her teaching career in 2013, teaching kindergarten at Success Academy Charter School in Fort Greene, as well as first and second grade. Raisa then moved to a high school setting at New Visions Charter High School, where she has taught Algebra 1 for 6 years. Ms. Turner, AP Raisa Turner, has impacted many of her students in a positive way. Within her first year, she took over as the new National Honor Society advisor and inducted more than 40 students. Ms. Turner has also served as the 9th grade level team and advisory team leader. She's a boss, y'all. From very early on in her life, Raisa knew and recognized her purpose, which was to be a leader in education because of her love for children. Educating and helping others, that's what she loves to do, y'all. More so, this passion further led her to obtain her certification as a school building and district leader from the College of St. Rose, as well as obtaining her master's in educational leadership. Within 6 months, she became the AP Assistant Principal of Culture and Climate at money earning Mount Vernon. No, it's really just Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. Is that science, technology, engineering, arts, and math?
Yep.
All right. This is her motto. Check this out. Ms. Turner's motto is that she is in the business of servicing students and will continue to mentor and be a great role model for all students who cross her path. Raisa Turner, y'all. I told you she was a boss. Told y'all she was a boss.
You did that so well.
Hey, I'm glad you approve. So that's the formal introduction for you, right? You deserve to be here. You are dope people, right?
Thank you.
But I think the people want to know just a little bit more about you, right? Beyond that, so who are you? Okay. And in every episode, we like to introduce our guests through a friendly round of this or that. Down for a little this or that today?
I'm ready.
Let's get it. Let's not waste any time. We're going to jump right in. You know how this goes. So, hey, pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Wow.
I don't like pancakes.
You don't like pancakes? Waffles, she said. Okay.
Waffles.
Day or night?
Ooh. I'm going to say night.
Night.
I'm a night owl.
Okay. Library or museums?
Museum. I'm going to the museum.
Okay. All right. Book or movie?
I feel like everybody knows me as an educator, wants me to say book, but it's movie.
Movie. Hey, nothing wrong with a good movie, right?
I'm a visual learner.
Oh, right. You got to know that.
Yeah.
80s or 90s?
90s off the bat. Come on now. I'm a 90s baby, so.
You're a 90s baby. All right, all right. All right, few more. Text or phone call?
I say, the phone call has to be FaceTime. I prefer FaceTime than
Okay.
text.
So it's still visual. We want to see,
it's
right?
Still visual. I need to see.
Okay. All right. Breakfast or dinner?
Ooh, that's, I'm going to go with dinner.
Okay.
I'm going to go with dinner.
I feel like I know this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Comedy or drama?
Oh, I gotta go with the drama.
I was wrong. I thought you were gonna pick comedy.
That's my vice.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's take the turn. Let's turn this corner, round this game out.
Okay.
Teachers or parents?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna say parents. I'm gonna say parents.
Do you want to explain or you good? Self-explanatory.
It's not really self-explanatory because I am for teachers. I was a teacher, I will always be one. But I think when parents are really involved, it just brings a whole new level, a whole new aspect of reinforcement, positivity, engagement. And I actually enjoy talking to parents and involving them in their students' academics. So I'm gonna go with parents.
Okay. All right. That's dope. That's dope.
It's a bit comedy too when I involve the parents. So
I know you like a good laugh. That's why I thought comedy, but you picked drama. All right. Parents. PWI or HBCU?
Definitely. Well, not definitely, because I went to PWI, but I would say HBCU because I think I missed out a lot of that Black culture, that Black networking off the bat. With the PWI, I definitely had to work extremely harder and connect more or find more ways to connect more with my Black culture. But, a PWI did give me a good, full rounded, well-rounded experience. I would say the opportunities were there, but I definitely wish I experienced at HBCU.
Okay. All right. This is the last one.
Okay.
Traditional learning or e-learning?
No hybrid in there?
I'll let you figure out however you want to frame it.
I mean, traditional in the sense, I don't want to say traditional because education is always evolving. The world is always evolving, so education has to evolve. So we can't be traditional in that sense. But then you have e-learning. E-learning is such it's a skill that many people have to learn and be disciplined with. And I think it should be a balance, really. I think it really should be a balance, which is why I asked about hybrid, because we're already in the technological world. Education just has to kind of catch up with that.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't take a pandemic to get devices for all students to then rush and learn how to do e-learning, But I think there should be some type of balance because definitely human connection is needed. Social life is needed to be able to work with people. I think there should be a mesh. We got to mesh that somehow, but we can't stay stuck in the
right. So that's give it up for Raisa. Great job.
Thank
I
you.
want to continue on with that thought. You said something that kind of stuck out to me, and I don't know if you know this. So I'm in Chicago, born. I bleed Chicago. Chicago, man. Listen, I'm Chicago all day long, right? And I did not go to school for education. I'm a
Okay.
businessman. I went to school for business, got my master's in business, right? I got my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
But I found my gift and my passion in education.
Mm.
I was a Chicago public school teacher for about 15 years. I'm still an Illinois State Board of Education certified teacher, but I run a business. I'm in the business of education. I do private education. So I create curriculums for schools and I deliver.
Oh, I may
So
have
you said,
to connect with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. You have to, yeah, right. Um, but you said something that was very kind of stuck out to me when we're talking about e-learning versus traditional. And you said it shouldn't have taken the pandemic for us to figure out how to get students on you. And I have to go back and hear the exact words, but do you think it was more challenging for the students, or do you think it was more challenging for the educators to learn that skill of teaching and learning using, being virtual, being in the mobile space?
So it was easy for the students to navigate. I find it was easier more for the students to navigate things based upon my experience when I was teaching remotely. I use the students a lot as a resource for help. And they taught me how to do things more efficient, a quicker way, a faster way, and a more effective way when I was trying to change my lesson remotely. So I know these kids now are great with technology. I see it with the young ones, even my own godson. Just the other day, worked on my laptop and I was trying to figure out how to switch from pen to the finger, and he figured it out.
Crazy,
He's
right?
4 years old,
Almost intuitive, right?
almost intuitive. So, without a doubt, I know that students are more than capable to navigate through technology and devices. The teachers, on the other hand, if you're not a risk taker, if you don't have an open mind, and if you don't believe that education continuously evolves, remote e-learning was not for you. It was not for you. But just as much as we tell kids when things get tough, you still got to stick it out and you find a way. It's the same thing for us.
Right.
And quite honestly, there are some educators, teachers who can become very hypocritical, because you can't expect students to change and shift and get with the program if we have problems getting with the program. So all throughout remote, I was shifting my lesson plans like crazy, using any type of online resource I could find to make the lesson still engaging, but able for the students to navigate, because I was teaching math. So traditionally, we're writing on the paper, pencil and paper, calculator on the side, because you got to draw graphs, all that kind of stuff. And I had to really get creative and figure out a way to keep them engaged, remove the trauma from math and from what was going on in the world, and have them produce quality work online. So I know for me, I enjoyed it because I like doing things on the computer. But then you have some old school teachers, it takes them a minute, but if you're willing to learn, you'll be fine. If you're not, you're gonna have a hard time for a long time. So I think that a lot of teachers really, really suffered with that. Besides what they had going home already, um, you know, it was a big shift for them. And I'm sure they enjoyed the break home,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, but it was still like even though I used a whole bunch of online resources and everything I could think of to make it good, it was still a bit challenging. It was not the norm. It was not the norm. And so with anything that is a big shift, you're gonna have some challenges. But the kids are definitely more than capable. And now that we're back in,
yeah,
it is time to incorporate technology as efficient as possible.
we're going to circle back to this question about what happens, what school looks like from your perspective going forward. But I want to know a little bit more about you. This is about dope people, right? You're dope people. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
What kind of student were you, Raisa, middle school through high school, specifically 6th through 12th grade? Who was Raisa? What kind of student were you?
Oh Lord, I was the goody two shoe. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
So I was a little bit naive and gullible. So anything my dad would say or my grandmother would say, I'm like, oh, really? That would happen? Oh, let me make sure.
That's right. I can only imagine what they're telling you.
Listen, then I was like, guys, trick me.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't want to get in trouble. I did not like getting in trouble. I was always motivated to do things. I was always in everything. Step team, choir, dance. I struggled a bit in math in middle school.
Okay.
And
define that struggle. Quantify that a little bit. What kind of grades did you get in middle school in math? B's, C's, and D's.
More like 60s. Like barely passing.
Yeah.
But 60s, it wasn't clicking. And I just remember, and again, it was a Russian teacher. No offense to Russians or anything.
That's right.
I liked her, but her accent was so deep. It was so hard for me to understand. And I struggled with it.
But you teach math today.
I teach math today because high school, because I struggled, they put me in double periods of math my freshman year.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember then it hit me. I can do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is easy. I fell in love with algebra.
Okay.
However the teacher taught it, maybe the fact I had double periods of it, I fell in love. I was finding X everywhere. And because I struggled, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to teach. Because I always knew I was going to teach. I just didn't know what subject. And I knew I wanted to teach high school.
So now that was actually my next question.
Okay.
Like, when did you realize that you wanted to teach? And what was the moment for you? Can you describe for us that moment when you were like, you know what, I want to teach?
Yeah. So my mom, who's no longer with us, she was a teacher. She was a professor, really, in a college. She worked with IT and helped the different departments with technological things when it comes to teaching in the classroom. So I always saw her as a teacher. My dad, he's a preacher, but he's also more of a teacher. So I was around that. And then I had 2 little sisters come along a couple of years later. They're twins. And I remember my mom bought us a 2-fold chalkboard set to play with. And I would just play school with them. I was the teacher. I don't know how it happened, but I remember I got the notebooks. They had notebooks. They had to stand in line. We would walk down the stairs in the basement and we had class. And I was just teaching them. So it brought me joy. And I'm like, oh, this is natural to me. I taught dance at my church. I taught choir to the kids at my church. So it was always in me. And so I guess elementary going into junior high school, I was like, I could do this. This is me. I could teach. This is what I like to do. I like to help people. High school, I just didn't know what I would teach if I would go to college for teaching. And that's when I developed my love of math, being that I wasn't good at it. And I struggled. And there was some trauma around that. Like my heart would get would be so fast, and I'm like, I can't find this answer. Why can't I get this answer?
Okay.
Until I finally found it. I was like, yes, this is what success feels like.
Right.
So those things is what shaped me to be the educator today. I always knew it when I was younger. I always helped. I always taught in any aspect. I always explain things in a clear way for people. So I was picking up on that. And that's where my interest of education came from.
That's dope. That's dope. I heard you describing, I could feel the passion, right? As you're describing teaching your little sisters, right? And you said it out of your mouth. And my dad is a preacher, but he's more like a teacher. And I find that true to pastors and preachers, men of the cloth, they are teachers, right? Yeah. There's not much difference between teachers and pastors, right? You just don't get a homework assignment, but maybe you do get homework assignments as pastors as well. Sounds like what makes you so dope, and it seems like the people that are in the off school grounds group are the best of the best at what they do. But it sounds like you not only teach, but you teach from a particular a place of purpose. And sounds like you've always had that. Have you? Yeah. And you mentioned it. I mentioned it when I was reading your bio. You come from this place of purpose. Do you feel that? I mean, I know it's yes. in your bio, but can you talk a little bit about that motivation, that intrinsic place of purpose?
I think that was that's my purpose in life. I think I was born to do this work. And I get emotional about it all the time because it's something in me that I refuse to let or see students fail. I refuse to see them go down. I refuse to see them not excel, not succeed. I want them to feel the same way I feel. If I could transfer my energy to them, I would. Because when you feel successful, when you know you can do it and you felt that success, you're going to keep going after it because you've done it and you can do it. And I've come across a lot of students who have not been privileged with that. They have not been privileged in just hearing positivity around them. They hear so much negativity that they believe it. And so it all starts with the mind. If you can believe that you can do it, if you can believe, all you need is that belief that you can succeed. That's all you need. It's going to activate everything else in you, but you have to believe it. We are what we believe. And so if you are constantly hearing, why do you even go to school? Why do you even go to class? You always cutting. You never listening. Every time I have to get a call from the teacher, you always doing this, you always doing that. And it's never restorative. It's never positive. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And they're going to start to feel that they can't do it. And that's what I don't want them to feel. I want them to feel that they can do it. So that is why I'm so passionate about it. I do my absolute best to make everyone feel like they can achieve something that they thought was impossible.
That's phenomenal.
Not only students, but leaders and teachers. I want them to feel that they can do it. You thought you couldn't, but guess what? We just did it. We worked on it and now we're here. I want everyone who I come across to feel like they can do what it is that they feel like they can't do, So.
And I guess that's why your students and your school is winning with you sitting in that position. Well, talk to us about it. What's working for you as an educational leader?
What's working for me right now as an educational leader is that, just like Principal Akbar Cook, his book, Focus on the Love, that is what's working for me. I always focus on love. I start with love, I end with love. And when I show that I care about students by asking questions, not assuming, telling them I'm here to support you. What can I do to support you? What do you need? Things like that. I find that that's how you start building relationships with the students. And relationships is the foundation. So that is the number one thing that always works great for me. I always build great relationships with students. Always. And matter of fact, I would say 99.9% of the time, because you
sure
know,
we all have a couple of students
we
that
all have a couple
want to throw hands with us, right?
You know, you got a couple. Very few. Very few. But most of the time, you know, if you ask a student about Miss Turner, they would tell you she's fair, she cares. Oh, I've seen her. I'm seen. I'm here. Oh yeah, I know. I've seen what she did, or you know, she did that. You know, they're gonna tell you. They're gonna, because I'm real. I'm real with them. Kids can see when you're being genuine and when you're not being genuine. They can pick that up real quick. So building that positive relationship is what has been working great for me.
That's super dope. That's super dope. Well, the other end of that spectrum is what's challenging for you in education right now. What's keeping you up at night or got you scratching your scalp? Yeah, buddy. What is that?
Resources, funds, the mindset that punitive punishment is the first thing to give to a student.
Sorry about that.
Black and brown students.
And I apologize to our black and brown students who have to deal with that. I hate to see that. You know, during the pandemic, kids they were not being disciplined. I mean, they weren't being expelled. They weren't being held in detention. They weren't getting demerits. But now it's back on the rise. So continue. I didn't mean to take that from you, but go ahead.
It's a real thing, you know, and then the kids feed on that. You know, I started doing lunch detention here because, you know, the teachers wanted more immediate consequences, you know, and if I could be very transparent, it's like, well, what are you doing in your class? What are your rules and consequences? Because it shouldn't have to get to me right away. What are you doing first, right? And so, you know, I'm doing these lunch detentions that I guess it wasn't a thing before. Now it's a thing, and the kids are associating it with this detention site called Woodfield. So now they call it Woodfield. Oh, you're going to Woodfield, and I'm like, this is why I'm 3 months in. I've been observing and following the leadership of my principal. And she's also new too. She started last year, October. So it's been a new dynamic, you know. And so, okay, we hear the teachers, we slowly give them what they're asking for. But look at what's happening now. Everything is negative. Or we're going to the Whitfield detention. Oh, you got it. Oh, one kid even said something about, oh, you're gonna come lock me up. And I'm like, no. Let's not even say that in our vocabulary. You know, school should not feel like a prison. School should not look like a prison. If we only put the money and resources that like we're given overseas to Ukraine and everybody else, if we only put the money in education like this, it will be completely different. It'll be completely different, especially for our Black and brown students. But they don't want that. They don't want that.
When I've maintained a certain level of integrity on this show. I never want to, like, I'm not here to trap people up, and I'm not looking for that big moment where, oh, you said this thing or that. Mm-hmm. But this is a space where other educators and educational leaders can learn from each other and glean from each other.
Absolutely.
I have witnessed this dynamic, this sort of tension between teachers and principals and APs as well. Teachers, when I say principals, assistant principals. Yep. There's this tension between us teachers and us educational leaders, what would you say, or what would you offer up as a solution to reducing that tension?
That's a very good question, because most of what I had to learn when going into this role from my supervisor, my previous supervisor, I learned a lot of what not to do because of that tension that most teachers and their supervisors have. I believe that, first of all, we have to understand who we are here for. We are here for the students to learn, for students to grow. We are teaching them. We are the role models. So we have to make sure that we model that in our own behaviors. Secondly, I think as admin, you really got to listen to teachers. You really got to actively listen. You also have to make expectations clear, set boundaries, and again, build relationships. That literally is the first thing that should happen. Is you should build relationships. I don't know why it seems a bit hard for some admin to do that. It almost feels like it's a power struggle. It's never been a power struggle for me. I never decided to go into leadership because I wanted power. I went into that because I had more power to do more for the kids and to also coach and help and mentor teachers to sort of feed off that same energy I have, how I did it when I taught. I know everybody's not the same, but again, I could help in that capacity because, like I always told my kids, I don't want to have a boring class. Who wants to have a boring class? I don't like boring class. We don't do boring here. You're gonna come in, you're gonna win, and we're gonna be engaged. But not everyone has that. And I hear the complaints from the students. I hear it. And the minute that they're bored, especially at Black and Brown students, the minute that they're bored, they're finding holes to poke in because they need to be doing something, right? And a lot of us don't really know how to properly engage those students. So, I always want, if I'm going to tell or recommend or suggest something to a teacher, it's something that I've done. I'm not going to tell them to do something that I've never done. Right? I'm going to show, I'm going to coach, I'm going to guide. I'm not just going to tell you need to do this, start implementing, and then now I write you up because you didn't do it. You don't do it, right? Those sort of gotcha moments is what happens. And teachers feel they're not okay with that. Everyone is an adult. We're humans. Look at us as people. Look at us as people. You know what I'm saying? Have a heart sometimes. I think a lot of leaders sometimes is so much focused on the job that they forget the human side of things,
They forget to lead with love.
Lead with love. Mm-hmm. I literally have to look at some leaders. I'm like, wow, are you going through something? Because I don't get why you have to be like this, and they could be great with resources and all the proper nice agendas and articles that you give us to read. That's great information. But what about the person side of us, the human side of us, the empathy? Even now more than ever, you can't forget about that. It requires both.
You mentioned something earlier that I won't forget, especially in this, as we're in the third decade of the new millennium. Something that I don't hear very often. I'm sure it exists. Obviously, you're proof that it exists. I just don't hear it very often. You mentioned that you still teach a class. Is that accurate? Are you actively teaching a
No,
class right now?
no, I'm not
Okay,
actually
all
teaching
right.
a class. What I am doing is modeling for
Okay,
teachers within the class with, I ask
okay.
them. Um,
Even that, I don't hear. I hear about observations. I don't hear as much about modeling in the classroom.
See,
So
I
you're
come from
modeling.
charter world. I come from charter world. So we had to do a lot of modeling, a lot of teach backs. That's
Okay.
how I
All
learned
right.
the ropes of teaching, really. I always had it in me, but when I started teaching, it was charter school. So we would do teach backs with
Okay.
each other. We would, get modeling, however the feedback was given, we were getting a lot of it because it was a constant space for improvement. We have to be the experts when teaching the students. So we have to constantly get feedback. And I love what OSG said one Thursday. They were like, feedback is a gift. I never thought about it that way. And it clicked when it was said, feedback is a gift. It's a gift because you are getting knowledge of other ways that you can do something better. Like someone is telling you other ways that you can do something better, So I came from that.
Yeah, that's dope. No, that's dope. Where do you see education, middle school, high school, primary, secondary education going? What's the future of education from your perspective?
I'm hoping, because I'm seeing things now, I'm hoping to hear a lot of financial literacy talk, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, investments, because I even had a couple of high schoolers in my last job who told me that they're doing that.
Absolutely, 100%.
And when kids say, "Oh yeah, I got a job, I'm like, what job you have? What you
Right.
doing? Please." And I was like, "Wait, you're actually doing investments? Now you got to teach me." I was like, "Come up with a proposal and show me how this works." That's where education is going. We as the teachers, as the educators, we are going to be doing the asking of the students, right? You come up with that proposal. You do that research. Tell me about this, right?
Yes.
And it has to be like that. We teach them, but we also learn from them. We also learn from them. So that's how I see it going. A lot of financial literacy talks, hopefully in the curriculum. A lot of arts. So I know Lays is doing his work with music studios.
Yeah.
In schools, and I'm like, we have a whole bottom floor here not even being used, and so many kids I know love to make music.
Of course, right?
Like if we had the funds, the resources, however we could do it to build it, that would be awesome. Like, how many kids would want to come to school?
Yeah.
With that alone. So hopefully in the future, this is what I'm seeing, that we have those things built in so that this is what's driving the kids in, because a lot of them say, well, why do we need to know this? Why do we need to know this? And you know what? That question is being asked a lot more now. Why do we need to know this? What do we need to know? What do we need to know?
There you go.
So those are the things. What's happening in the world now, what's going to happen in the world later on, is what needs to be happening in the school right now.
Yeah. There are a lot of amazing math opportunities with understanding investing in cryptocurrency.
I mean,
there are lots of ways to connect those dots to
making your money work for you.
Oh, absolutely. Just understanding how to count it, helping students understand decimals and fractions better. Maybe at a later time I'll share some stuff with you, but anyway, this is about you. Hey, we're rounding out the hour. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would like to share, like the people to know, before we end today's conversation?
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm completely honored that you even chose me to have this
No, you
opportunity.
dope people. You
Thank
dope
you.
all day. Yeah.
Secondly, I do want to say that I do have a tutoring business with two other young ladies called Black Girl Tutors. We started in 2018, and through the pandemic, we got through. We became a virtual tutoring spot now, and so we have tutored families from all over the United States. So that's a big win, a big plus. Black Girl Tutors is the name. We are also going into schools for after school programs. That's our next things that we are doing now and trying to expand everywhere. So if you are interested, if anyone listening is interested in working for Black Girl Tutors, let us know. Email us at blackgirltutors@gmail.com. Or if you're looking for a tutor from K to 12, we will get you a tutor assigned. It will be virtual most of the time, but we can work something out in person, seeing how the CDC guidelines are going. But we are still in business. We are still tutoring consistently. We have not stopped, and we will continue to help other families out there in need who needs tutoring services, it's affordable tutoring services. And you can follow us on Black Girl Tutors _LLC.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All of their contact information, all of the contact information for Black Girl Tutors will be in the show notes. So make sure you check that out. Yes. If you are watching on YouTube, like, share, and comment. Hit that bell to notify you when a new episode drops. Black Girl Tutors. We are with the one, the only Miss Principal Raisa Turner. She is officially stamped dope people. Raisa, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it as well. You have a lot to offer. People should have gleaned a lot from you. And I'm sure people will be hitting you up about your tutoring service, working for you and receiving services.
Awesome.
For everybody listening, you already know what it is. Until next time, peace.